One of the many moral issues present in the debate over abortion involves the question of whether it would be justified to end the life of a very old person. For example, one could argue that an old person, very old, has lost much of what makes their life worth living. They may have lost their vision, their hearing, they may have even begun to lose what constitutes their mind. But does that justify ending the life of someone simply because they are old? Most certainly not. The human life exists as it exists, not in relation to an idealized peak of life, prime of life situation that we are comparing it to. And such is the case with extremely young human beings. Once a human being is a human being, then there exists an inherent right to life that it possesses. It does not matter exactly what state that human being is in. We cannot compare everyone to an idealized prime of life specimen of the human condition. To do so would be no different than every murdering eugenicist throughout history, everyone who has championed the death of the disabled, of the elderly, of the sick, of anyone who falls short of an idealized prime of life human situation. And that is the case with abortion as well. Many argue that because a child is not fully grown, has not yet reached some sort of mythologized prime of life state, that means that it is acceptable to end the child's life. But clearly that cannot be the case when we take into account situations like the elderly, the sick, the disabled, the infirm, the mentally ill. If we applied those same standards to other people in other situations where they may fall short of an idealized prime of life state, then it would become morally acceptable to end their lives as well, and to do so would open us to a torrent of depravity, the likes of which has not occurred since the reign of the Nazi regime. Clearly, we cannot embrace any argument in favor of ending a human life that is predicated on the worship of an idealized human state, which does not truly exist. No one truly matches up to this idealized, fantastical, perfect human state in which someone is exactly the right age, possessing exactly the right mental capabilities, exactly the right physical situation. It cannot be achieved, it cannot be found, except perhaps in the scantest handful of people in the entire world. And surely we can't be arguing that they alone possess rights, that they alone possess some claim to dignity, to life. To do so would victimize all of us, because which of us can truly claim to be perfect? Which of us can claim to be this idealized, perfect state of human being? I think none of us. I certainly cannot. And if we accept this belief that unless a human being is perfect, that it is exactly the right age, exactly the right state of health, exactly the right state of mind, it has no more growing to do, and by extension, as in the case of an elderly person, it has not grown too much, it has not lost too much to the process of aging, it has not lost what has made it once an idealized human being. These things are critical to consider. We have to think about the larger effects of this argument, because what will we do if we ever fall back into that pit of depravity that once existed at the height of the eugenics movement? we could find ourselves in a nightmare from which it will be very difficult to awaken. And these are questions that have to be addressed now, not simply for the issue at hand, although that is, of course, of primary importance in this moment, but also for the future and for all of us. This affects all of us. This isn't just about the abortion debate per se. It involves every human being living, every human being who will live. These are questions that we must all be willing to consider and address. Regardless of our preconceived notions of what is right and wrong, we must be willing to look at this and consider, what if it were us in this situation? What if it were we who were potentially the victims? How would we react to that? How would we defend ourselves against charges that we are not deserving of life because we fall short of this perfect human ideal that only exists in the minds of those who do not value human life? Ironically, they present this idealized vision of what a human being is and when it deserves to live, but only someone who does not love the human being, does not respect the human state, could possibly hold such beliefs, could possibly hold the human race to such impossible standards as this. We must think about ourselves and everyone else, and we must not be afraid to accept the truth wherever we may find it.